Welcome back to another episode of the Jacob Johnston Show. You know, one of the defining features of the left is how they are always going off and trying to move the goalpost. You know, whenever it comes to any type of negotiation on any type of bill, they always say, here's the goalpost. If you can get here, we'll agree. And the Republicans always cave and always go, all right, we'll give you all this stuff that really they do not have the power to do because it's not within the Constitution. It's not within the constitutional powers of the government. Well, then the Republicans get to where the Democrats want them to be, and then all of a sudden they go, no. Actually, the goalpost is over here. I mean, we said it was here, but it's really over here. And it gets annoying because then the Republicans are always like, and it's always on must-pass legislation. You know, where we must pass this in order to avoid catastrophe. Here's the goalpost that the Democrats told us. And we get there, and then they move it, right? And we see this also not just with the goalpost for must-pass legislation, but we see this with where they decide the center is, the center of politics. And they're always moving where that center is, so that they can always claim, no, it's the Republicans that are changing. It's the Republicans that become more extreme. When really it's the Democrats that keep going more and more extreme, that keep getting crazier and crazier, but they just keep moving that center line to wherever it is they're at. And nothing explains this better than the recent controversy that the far left is having with former President Barack Obama. Yes, the former god of the Democrat Party is now not radical or extreme enough. You know, they're now upset with him because he just won't go as extreme as they are. Now, let's be honest here. Barack Obama is an extreme far leftist. It's just he's at least smart enough to know that when you're on the campaign trail and you're trying to get elected, lie your ass off. That's the only thing that separates him from the other crazies of the far left, is that he is great at lying and he's great at reading a teleprompter. I mean, he was the most crooked president in the entire history of the United States. So the left is out there now completely upset over some remarks that Barack Obama made while out on the campaign trail trying to help promote Biden in the upcoming election. So let's take a look at what Obama said that has the far left so upset.
Look, some of the rhetoric you're hearing down here in South Florida, it's just made up. It's just nonsense. Listening to the Republicans, you think Joe was more communist than the Castros. Don't fall for that garbage. Don't fall for that okey doke. Joe Biden is not a socialist. He was a senator from Delaware. He was my vice president. I think folks would know if he was a secret socialist by now. What is true is he'll stand up for ordinary people.
Yes, that's the clip that the far left is upset with. So what is the issue with that clip? Well, first off, he's going off and proclaiming that Joe Biden is not a socialist. Don't worry, people. He's not a socialist. All right, now, if we were to analyze everything, Joe Biden, of course he's not a socialist. All right, he's not anything. He's an empty suit. He just sticks his finger up in the air and tries to figure out which way the wind is blowing for the Democrats, and then he goes there. He has no ideology, no real belief. All he cares about is power for power's sake. That's Joe Biden. He has nothing that he believes in. But they're really upset with that. One, because, you know, going off and admitting to the far left that, you know, he's not a socialist. And if you're not a socialist, how can you be a Democrat these days? You know, they're upset because Obama seems to be thinking that, or proclaiming or admitting that socialism is bad. It's a bad thing to be. And this is what has the far left upset. Now, of course, Obama's out there trying to reassure voters, so Obama will say anything he thinks the voters want to hear, regardless of what the truth is. But there is another part of that clip, another part of it that really has the far left upset and completely pissed off at Obama. And it's not just going off and, talking about socialism as if it's bad, but goes off and says, no, Joe Biden's there to help the regular folks, the average folks. What is the implication in that statement? Is that socialism is not normal. Socialism is not the average folks. Socialism is an oddity, an extreme view. That's what Obama is basically admitting in that particular speech, and it has the far left upset. So I was going off and I was taking a look at what some of the crazy far leftists are saying about Barack Obama today. And this goes to show just how far they are moving, not just the goalpost, but where they consider the center of politics is, because their views are completely crazy and insane. I guess we already knew they were crazy and insane. So while going through and taking a look at what social media had to say, YouTube, the left-wing, political commentators, left-wing, social media influencers had to say, I came across one of the craziest of the crazies. There is one channel that I monitor along with the Young Turks, just to see where the craziest of the crazy far leftists are thinking, are viewing situations. And if you're going to go on social media, the craziest of the crazies are on the Young Turks or this guy on Secular Talk. And I get it. They want to say, yes, they have a larger following than me. Yes, they've also been at it longer than me. And they also have YouTube helping to promote and push up their content. So there's that. So I was going through and taking a look at what Secular Talk had to say. And this is the craziest and most insane thing I have ever heard anybody on the left say.
Think about how politically dumb this is. He's normally a very good politician. He knows how to win elections, clearly. You're going out there and going to make this argument at a time when we already know the numbers show it. Joe Biden is crushing among older voters, among suburbanites. He has that demographic locked down. Trump only has white men over 50 with no college degree. But the strategy of it is infuriating because now, if/when Biden wins in just a pure anti-Trump wave election, they're all going to turn around and say, see, we told you the way you win is to be a serious corporate centrist. That's how you win. You represent the donors, you split the difference, you triangulate, you say, I'm a new Democrat, and you wag your finger at the left and say, silly children, fall in line. That's the lesson they're going to take away, when in reality, the lesson is a ham sandwich could have beaten Donald Trump. But, again, what do you expect? Obama's basically a moderate Republican, so he's sounding like a moderate Republican.
Now think about what a complete moron that guy is. And yet, he makes a lot of money making those videos. So, being as dumb as he is, he has a lot of even dumber followers. So let's kind of break down a few of the things that he says. First off, I have to address the comment. He says that beating Donald Trump is something even a ham sandwich could do. Okay, now this is going to be a great, because when Trump wins re-election, what are we going to be able to do? Joe Biden is less than a ham sandwich. Can you imagine the memes that will go on about Joe Biden being less than a ham sandwich because of that clip? Second off, this is another one of those lies that the Democrats want to push, is that, Republicans, they're only old white voters. And the Democrats are everybody else. Everybody else. Only old white men vote Republican. If that was true, the Republicans would never win. President Trump would not be the president of the United States. We would not have the Senate. We would not have held the House during the Obama administration, right? If it was just old white men, because there's not enough old white men to go and be up against the rest of the population. But this is one of the lies that the Democrats like to promote, because they can't admit that, hey, Republican views are actually very popular, and a lot of minorities, if they actually knew what the Republican views were, they would realize it's the same as what most of their views are. Right? It's amazing how many minorities are actually conservatives, but they just don't know it because they don't know what conservatism is, because all they know is the left-wing indoctrination circles. But there is one part of this that I really want to address. Most of all, Obama was basically a center-right conservative, right? Or a moderate conservative? Really? Think about how insane that is. Obama, the farthest leftist of the left Democrat presidents, right? Here's a guy who destroyed healthcare. You know, now Obama was also the most crooked president in the entire history of the United States. Mr. I have a pen and a phone and I don't need Congress, and, you know, the legislative branch, you know, is subservient to the executive branch. Mr. Barack Obama, former President Obama, moderate Republican? Think about that. Think about how much you have to move the center. Now, let's go through the history of Barack Obama just to kind of go through and show just how far the left has moved where they claim that center line to be. All right. So, what is it? 2008, Barack Obama. He's radical. He's for fundamental transformation of the United States. He is for the far left progressive movement. All right. 2012. Oh, Obama is the center. You know, the Obama's re-election proves that the center still holds. 2016. Oh, Obama is still, center. He's not center left, but now he's right there in the smack dab middle of the center. 2020, Barack Obama is moderate Republican. So he moved from far left radical for fundamental change to, oh, he's just moderate Republican, center right. That's how far they have moved the center line. That's how far they have gone extreme in the Democrat Party. And so they have to redraw the lines for the center in order to make it seem like, no, they're in the mainstream. Now, let's go off and think about this. If you're going to go off and claim that the center is to the left of Obama, that Obama is center right, then that means anybody, any actual Republican, any moderate Republican is considered far right. So you see how they go through and they claim the far right this, the far right that. Well, the far right is anybody, and now according to this guy, anybody to the right, even slightly right of Obama, is now considered far right extremists. Can you imagine that? Imagine that. Anybody to the right of Obama, no matter how slightly, is now far right extreme. That means, well, with the way the center line is redrawn, that means that someone like Ted Cruz, oh man, they're the most extreme person in the history of the United States. Really? What does he believe? The Constitution should be interpreted as it's written? Whoa, that is extreme. That is the most extreme view anybody could ever hold. Wow, the extremism of that. I mean, it is just crazy that the government shouldn't be spending money on things that it doesn't have the constitutional authority to spend money on. Whoa, how extreme is that? I mean, this is crazy. And yet idiots like this gain large followings. And people are out there going, Obama, moderate Republican, But then what does that mean? If Obama is a moderate Republican, then AOC, by their definition, where they're drawing the lines, AOC and Bernie Sanders is the center, right? Is the middle of the road in politics. That's what the left is trying to go here. Okay, Obama's center right, moderate Republican. Therefore, AOC and Bernie Sanders is the middle of the road, the center of politics. But then you got to start wondering, well, if you consider them to be the center, then what is moderate Democrat? How crazy do they have to be? I mean, by reshifting that means the left can go as crazy as they want, and it's not considered extreme. They can come up with the looniest of ideas that is beyond anything that they've ever come up with now so far. You know, to the far left, they can go as far left as Hitler, and it's not crazy or extreme. It's just, you know, just past the center. It's not far left. You know, if they went as crazy as Hitler, it wouldn't be far left. It would just be right there as left. You know, just past the center. How do they get away with this? I mean, how can they go off and make these claims and do it with a straight face? How can they unilaterally declare for themselves where they believe the center to be? I mean, they're crazy. They are just insane. And yet YouTube will promote them. YouTube will promote the craziest, most insane people you'll ever come across. All right. So that's enough about that. Now, hopefully, after seeing this, you'll know that there's no end to the insanity of the left. There just isn't. Because to them, no matter how crazy they get, that's normal. You can find the most delusional person in the world, right? Find that. And yet that delusional person will think they're completely sane and rational. The craziest conspiracy theorist thinks that their ideas just make sense. You know, it's just common sense. And that's how the left is. And you wonder why we say that liberalism is a disease. Liberalism is a mental disorder, right? It's a huge mental health issue. And, you know, to quote Mark Dice, we need to find a cure. All right, that's it for this show. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, leave me comments, and share this around. The best way to get rid of the crazy liberals on social media is by promoting and sharing and flooding the internet with conservative content. Thank you so much, and I will be back again soon.